Imagine waking up to another dimension. A parallel universe where everything looks different. In a good way. You're feeling great. Your body is vibrating with a new vital energy while your mind is filled with infinite possibilities. Wow, this must be a dream. This is Dream Space from Factory International with me, Gemma Kearney. I'm a broadcaster, an art lover, and a professional daydreamer. In this podcast, we roam the inspiring realm of imagination, traveling across creative cosmoses to the dream spaces of my special guests. No limits, no laws, just looking for powerful antidotes to our reality. Let's push the boundaries of what our mind can create. Everything is possible here. Inventing tomorrow together. In the last episode, we plunged into the dream space of award-winning theatre writer, actor and director Amir Nizar Zuabi. A place where we challenge each other with love and curiosity. A pilgrimage to 12th century Baghdad to visit the House of Wisdom. Today we're going to explore another dream space, that of composer, DJ and producer Afrodeutsche.
It's heaven. That's the place we're going. It's freedom. There is no sickness. There is no pain. There is no hurt. There is nothing but love in the truest, most divine way. Heaven.
Henrietta Smith-Rolla, aka Afrodeutsche, is a British-born Ghanaian, Russian, German artist, composer, producer and DJ based in Manchester. She's incredibly eclectic. Her productions range from techno and house music to classical orchestral pieces. And if her voice is not new to you, it might be because you heard it on the radio. Every Friday, she hosts the People's Party Show on BBC Radio 6 Music. Right, let's go. Follow me! Welcome to the Dream Space, Afrodeutsche. I'm so excited. Where are we going to go?
Oh my goodness, hello. It's so good to be here.
How do you feel about a dream? Does the idea of sharing your dreams make you nervous, excited, intrigued? What are the feelings?
I guess with dreams, I find them extremely personal and also fascinating because I'll go through seasons myself where I will dream heavily and sometimes I just won't dream at all. And I started writing down my dreams a few years ago just to have a record of what was going on in my head. And I just found that they weren't just processing dreams. They were more than that. I was almost like dissecting my life and situations in my life, emotional ones. So I find sharing dreams a very personal thing that I don't do often. So it was really interesting to be asked to do this because it's a question I've never been asked before.
Let's start from a space of you. Is there a particular colour, object, sense that kicks us off?
I think for me, when I think of this dream space, I go all the way back to the point in my life when I had the most dreams, and the dreams led me on, and that was when I was a child. So I would take this space right back into the 80s and I would just have everything with 80s renders, not high definition, these VHS versions of films that I've recorded off the television, and just that lo-fi time of life. Everything sounded lo-fi, nothing was high definition. I would take this space back into the 80s where it felt like things were calmer and simpler on my mind. And, you know, I just spent all my time watching movies and being at the VHS shop. And shout out to Wise Penny, by the way, Wise Penny video store in Exmouth. Excellent. Was always afraid of the horror section, wouldn't go in that section. My mum had a video player and a television in their bedroom. I mean, this was like cool. It was Sony. It had like this honestly, it was crazy. But I would spend all my time.
Luxury.
It was. And I would get a video and I would go into the bedroom and I would watch everything I could. And I would absorb all of the sounds and the music. And so it was like I was in that dream space continually as a child in the 80s, because nothing had happened yet. It was about to happen. We were discovering it all, technology and sound and all that music. So I would go back to 8-bit lo-fi 80s hue.
And also the tactile nature of how we got to that place. It wasn't that quick, having to like go to the video store, choose the video, put it in the machine, make sure it's rewound. There's something really beautiful and slow about getting to the destination.
Yeah, absolutely. The pace of life. You know, when you're a child, you don't have the responsibilities that you have even as a teenager, you know? So like, I remember walking to the video store, being at Wise Penny, smelling the fish and chip store across the street. Do I have enough money? You know, all these little things, and then getting myself home. And it was like the amount of work that I put in to that just made it all the more my personal time.
You mentioned simplicity. Is it something that you yearn for in the everyday and in the real world? And do you suspect, as I do, that it's something that we all want, but we've kind of lost a grasp on completely?
Absolutely. And I have made pretty extreme measures in my life to keep it in a place of peace. Very practical things, like, so I will put Instagram on my phone on a Friday. I'll do my video for radio, just share that I'm on air. Then I will speak to people while I'm on the show, and then I get home and I uninstall it because I know that I will just keep scrolling and I will do it for hours and I will feel nothing other than jealousy and envy, just all these different things that are just not for me. I realized that I am not accessible all the time. And I find that a lot of ways of communicating through social media and that kind of stuff, it makes people think that you are available because they've messaged you and there's a blue tick and there's a thing, and it's like, I'm not available. Yeah. So I let people know that I'm not available and everyone's fine with it. Like, it's no big deal. And of course, I will work on Mondays and Tuesdays, but at least I don't have the pressure of having to reply to that email that's come through.
Peace. That sounds so good, so wise.
What would happen if the government issued a national holiday where everyone in the services industry, everyone had to take a day off? Like, it would be illegal to trade.
Can we turn the internet off as well?
Yeah, exactly.
Turn it off for one day. See how it makes everyone feel.
One day a week. Oh. And what I find about that so interesting is going back to this dream space for me. In the 80s, you weren't allowed to trade on Sundays. So everything would be closed. Nothing would be open. Even train services would be like skeleton. And so everyone would get ready on Friday and Saturday for their weekend. And I loved going for a walk through the town on a Sunday because everyone was at home. And I knew that everyone was just resting, whether it was a religious thing or not. And I miss that. And I know that we need it. We all need at least one day off a week where we're not working, where we're spending time with the people that we care about. If you live alone, you're spending that time, that precious time, doing whatever it is to recharge your batteries. That would be my dream.
Peace and time to dream. So going into your dream space, I'm very excited to head back to the 80s, an analog world where we get to choose our videos slowly. It's a Sunday. Nothing is open and there is no internet.
It's the best. Honestly, I'm there.
And we're presented with this plan for life. This is like the new way.
Yeah.
This is the governmental way of guiding us to better mental health, frankly.
Yeah. I just keep thinking of the word rest. Like, there's no rest on the internet. And we know that our bodies benefit in the most extraordinary ways from rest. Like, just rest. So this dream space for me would just absolutely be filled with rest, but also classical music. And I think as I was growing up, well, I know it was like I would watch these movies and I would be listening as well as watching, and I learned how arrangements were made with classical instruments, and I just dreamt, I was like, I just want to be able to write and work with an orchestra. That was my dream, an orchestra. I didn't even think that it would ever be possible. And now, fast forward, I have seasons of where I'm working heavily digitally with music, and then I will need so desperately to get rid of everything digital and just listen to acoustic classical music, because my brain cannot handle the levels of audio that I'm processing, because not only am I listening and absorbing, so I know that I personally need a rest from digital audio just to be able to get through and create and write.
What about broadcast? Has that added to the plethora of what you want to create? Do you see it as an art?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It was a surprise, actually, starting on 6 Music, because it wasn't a direction I was planning on. And the show that I have is a free play show, so I get to choose every piece of music. And the first thing that I thought when I started the show was like, this is about love. This show is about love, and love in all its states and forms.
I want to weave that love because I can connect to it and it resonates so much. Radio being one of the biggest loves in my life too. So let's really take that deep sense of authentic love into this place of rest and perhaps allow us to find the music that we need. Does that mean a selection? Would you be able to put together a toolkit of different tunes perhaps that we could tap into, or would it be one that would just instantly take us there to this space of love?
At the moment, it's Vivaldi for me. 4 seasons, it's summer, beautiful, that's just on repeat. And Arvo Part, another classical composer that for me is a dream composer. It would be very soundtracky from movies. I guess Blade Runner is a pretty obvious one, but that Vangelis always just takes me sonically and technology-wise right to that point. Right now in this dream space, it's Vivaldi, and it's Nigel Kennedy playing Vivaldi. So Nigel Kennedy for me was just like hardcore punk of classical music. I want to find him. I just want to find him and see what he's doing right now, because the world of classical music is an elite one. And somehow I have been invited into that world. And that was my dream.
Can we create the universal love train or spaceship, whatever kind of vehicle that transports us and casts us to a space where we're all invited into the world of classical music?
That is the dream. That's the dream space where there is no divide. And I spend a lot of time asking the classical music world to invite us. And it would definitely be an airplane or some kind of flying into it. Like, I love flying. I'm on a flight and I'm thinking to myself, why isn't everyone else just like super freaking out and like enjoying the fact that we are so high up and we are above the clouds? Anyone looking at the clouds, like I have hundreds of pictures of clouds from aeroplane windows, because I'm just like, wow. So I would say we would fly into this space above the clouds.
Okay, and is there a storm?
Oh, we are leaving the storm. It's like the storm is in the distance. Because there's always turbulence. There's always that turbulence. But we are protected.
Yeah.
We are safe.
Yeah, we're safe.
We are nowhere near it. We can witness it. We see it. But we're nowhere near it.
We have the thrill of the elements as a past entertainment, but not as a fear.
No, we are not fearful at all.
Okay.
At all.
Oh my goodness, you'd be a great pilot.
And to your left,
chilled.
a thunderstorm. But don't look to your left, look to your right. Oh, look at the sunset. How amazing.
And we have some beautiful Vivaldi to see us through the next hour of the flight.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Some Vivaldi, some other parts, some Mozart. Oh my goodness. It's the best. I know through experience and through the teaching that I've done in primary schools is that there isn't one person who doesn't like classical music. You might not believe that you understand it, but you do. This is the incredible thing about classical music. Everyone understands it. They don't have to like it as a genre that they're really into, but there's always a piece that moves people and they're like, I don't even know why. We need an invitation into this space because we don't believe that we're allowed in and we don't believe that we understand it.
Is it simply a case of representation that creates the barrier?
I think one thing is access. It's more difficult for classical music to seem fashionable right now when there's so many other things available. Aesthetically pleasing in an instant. Rather than, focusing on a piece that's 15 minutes long and the drama only happens 7.5 minutes in. It's like we listen to music in a very different way now. We expect to only listen to one track off an album that someone's released. And classical music demands that you take some time and slow down, because there isn't anything visual and you're left with your emotions and your mind and the sound. So I think that's probably the first thing, is a way of allowing people to slow down and just be able to experience the joys of that. And then just the understanding of it, that maybe it needs a new name, because the word classical and classic, it begins with class.
Okay, yes.
I don't know what this word would be for classical music, but it immediately sets you out of it because you're in the class system, but you're not in that class, And so I think reimagining the language around the music would be a great start.
I love that.
So that you're not intimidated and you don't feel like you're not allowed.
As the steward, I'm not leading people to first class, business class on this plane. No.
Oh, everyone's in business class.
There's no separate classes.
No, there isn't. This is what I mean. Everyone is in business class and everyone can lay down.
Yes.
Everybody can press a button and recline and lay down and sleep and rest whenever they like. Even the people serving, they get to lay down
lovely.
Instead of having to sit up and sleep.
Yeah, I know. Oh my goodness.
Right? I mean, it's like torture. It's like, who came up with this?
I love that we're flying in the 80s because I feel like there would have been more glamour around flying and also less cynicism and exposure to how guilty we should be about flying, essentially.
Yeah. When we're kind of set up everywhere to not be able to make the best decision. It's really difficult to make the right decision all the time. If I have a gig that's abroad and sailing isn't an option, I'm going to have to fly. Or I could not do the gig and I could not have that work. Yes, those are two options. But I also have a home. I need to pay my rent. And so it's almost like you're set up to not always be able to make the best and correct decision in all situations. So this dream space means that the whole construct is set up so that you don't even have to think about it. The systems are in place that look after all the elements that come to that being the right decision. So all the airline crew are being well looked after. Their healthcare is the best in the world. You know, the people working in the airport, they don't work 13-hour shifts, they work 1-hour shifts. From the ground up, everyone has someone looking after them. For me, that would be the dream, where everyone has support. No one's forgotten about or unseen. I just feel like cab drivers should have like an annual celebration party or something just to be like, hey guys, we totally see you. Like, we see you. Oh, you mean you moved to this country 3 years ago and you started working for this cab company and no, you just don't feel seen? Here we go. Here's a celebration of the work that you've done and the sacrifices you've made to come to this country and do this job. Everyone's seen in this dream space.
Love plane is glorious. It's my kind of place.
Isn't it? Right.
And I also love the metaphors in actually travelling. There's a stillness and a rest, but at the same time, dichotomously and brilliantly, we get to move through borders with freedom.
Oh, yeah.
It's really nice.
It is the dream. I feel so relaxed even just thinking about this world. And I think you hit it there. It's the freedom, the real freedom, not this freedom that we think we get. It's like the freedom is for everyone. It's not just for a social group. It's not just for a certain culture. This is the freedom for everyone who isn't seen. Everybody needs this freedom. So we would be on this love plane into a place of real freedom.
One love, quite literally. In your dream space, on this love plane. I'm a steward, but I get to rest and I get to eat what everyone else is. There's no divide of class. Beautiful classical music that's really accessible. The thunderstorm is in the background, like we've seen it. We can see it in the distance lighting up the sky elementally. What do we get to munch on?
Oh my goodness. I mean, this dream space would have no diabetes and we just eat sugar. Plain and simple. Everything would be sweet.
So many people are going to be rejoicing at that.
Sweet, sugary, there's no saccharin anywhere, but it's like that kind of sweet that smells good too. I remember when I was a kid, my mum loved growing plants and growing things, and she would grow honeysuckle. And I remember smelling honeysuckle that grew on the side of this wall, and I was like, That is the sweetest smell I have ever. I want to eat it, like I want to consume it, but I think the food that we would eat would smell so beautiful that it would be like a full-on trip. Like, have you ever tried wild strawberries before, the really tiny ones? Like, they are nuts. They are so tiny, packed full of the most flavour I have ever, and the smell of those. So I think things would be sweet. They would not be saccharine sweet. They would be filled with fragrance.
This is heaven to the ears of a woman who's going to give birth in around 2 weeks, because the sensory experience of smell and taste has gone to another level. Yeah, really? I can't stop smelling everything so hugely and so affectingly. And I'm really drawn to citrus smells in a way that's become like quite embarrassing.
Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, you're going to have a great time because like the lemon meringue pie that we serve on this flight is the most sublime lemon meringue pie you've ever smelt.
This is so good. I'm never going to want to come off this plane. Where are we going? Because what can be as good as this?
I think you said it then. It's heaven.
Yeah.
That's where we're going. That's the place we're going. It's freedom. There is no sickness. There is no pain. There is no hurt. There is nothing but love in the truest, most divine way. Heaven. You're going to heaven.
I want to talk to you, Henrietta, forever. This is so lovely. I have been in heaven thanks to Afrodeutsche's Dream Space. We have time travelled, got on a plane with no guilt, no cynicism, no fear, seen the elements at work in the skies, eaten lemon meringue pie. Oh, I could see my uniform as the steward.
Oh my
it's like made of silks and all sorts. Yeah, it's really floaty. It's not stiff and uncomfortable. Loose. And it hasn't mattered how sweet everything is. It smells amazing and it's giving us nourishment. We've had the best conversations whilst reclining in a conversation pit style design on a plane where there is no division of class and everybody's invited, including the taxi driver that got us there. We've listened to a selection of really beautiful tunes that we can dip in and out of depending on our mood to get us into a space of rest and peace and pace. Like a song can last 15 minutes, but that's all right because we've got a long journey and we're going to end up destination heaven.
No better place, huh?
Absolutely dreamy. I'm Gemma Kearney, and you've been listening to Dream Space from Factory International. Today we heard Afrodeutsche's Dream Space, a place where heaven is accessible. Join us again next time for a swim and plunge in another fantastical creative mind. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. Your support really does make a difference. Tell people about it. Send it to someone that you know will like it. If you can't wait until the next one, then you can head to Factory International's website to find more exciting artistic content on Factory Plus. And if this is your first taste of Dream Space, then welcome to the universe. Thank you for joining us. Do check out previous episodes in the series with David Hoyle, Zoe Ashton, Gazelle Twin, Hatain Patel, and DJ Paulette, as well as Series 1. There are some absolutely brilliant ideas in these conversations. Dream Space was hosted by me, Gemma Kearney, and this episode was produced by Sylvia Malnati, with sound design by Femi Oriogun Williams and theme music by Andrew P.M. Hunt. The executive producer is Kit Callan, and this is a reduced listening production for Factory International, curated by Scott Smith and Alex Mannion Jones. Until next time.